everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So this is my second video. Yes, second video, and I'll be talking on my experience with addiction and how God delivered me. So it's to the end that anyone in that space that I was is delivered. Yes, and I pray that the Lord will help me to communicate this in the right way, and that it will lead to another person's, not just one, everyone's deliverance from this chain that the devil tries to put people in. Yeah, I'm so sure it's going to fix. Yep. So today, permits me, I'm going to be looking into my notes because I have some key points I don't want to skip. So if you see me looking down, I'm looking into my notes. So I'm going to start from my background, from my childhood days. Yeah. So like I said in my last video, that I'm the first child of 3 children, the only girl. Yes, and I grew up in a kind of environment I call family environment. It was filled up with a lot of families here and there where we knew each other. Where I lived, my cousins stayed there, not in the same apartment, but they had their house in the same compound. I had so many other families. My mom's friends, childhood friends, my mom's childhood friend stayed there also with her husband, and so it was like more like a family also. We knew everyone and all those things. So yeah, that was how I grew up, and I was born a Christian. So I went to church like every other person. My age that time, you cannot dare say that, oh, we're not going to church today. You had to go to church. So I went to church like every other person of that age. Yeah. So a day came, I learned a book from one of my church members, a novel, because I just had interest in reading books at that point. And yeah, I was probably 11, 12, 13, I'm not too sure at that point. I'm not too sure now. Yeah, so I learned the novel from her, and she gave me, my mom saw the novel and she read the back to see about the book, where you see the description of the book and all those things. So she read it and she told me to return the novel. She told me to return it. She didn't want me to read it. So yes, like a good girl, I said I was going to return it, but I did not return it. Nah, I didn't return it immediately. I read it. I wanted to see everything. I read the book from the beginning to the end till I was satisfied, and I returned it. Yes, that was my first experience with romance novels. Yeah. So fast forward to when, after my mom, because after some time, some years later, my mom died and all those things. Yeah. So that was 2017 when she died. Yes. So by that time, I had left. I was done with secondary school. I'd done my WAEC, which stands for West African Examination Council. I was done with that. That was part of the requirements needed to gain admission into the university. So I was done with that, and yeah. So by 2018, I did my JAM. Yes, in a tutorial. The tutorial where I did my WAEC registration, because I had to leave secondary school a little bit earlier when I was in SS2 because of financial constraints. So I had to start going for various tutorials and all, because we couldn't pay for the school fees at that point. Yeah. So I had to like, yeah. So after that, when I was in the tutorial preparing for YE jam, post jam, every single exam. Before those times, I didn't have a phone. I didn't have an Android phone, and yeah, I didn't have an Android phone during those times. So I was usually alone in the class when it was break time, or anytime we had breaks. Sorry, I sat there alone sometimes. There were times I followed friends also, but because I didn't have a phone, I had to sit down alone most of the time. And yeah, so because of I didn't have a phone, at when I would sleep, I would sleep. I would force that sleep. I slept those times, like seriously, I really slept those times. And actually, one of those days, the guy who was actually one of the students in the tutorial, he looked through the window. I was like, why is this girl always sleeping every time? Every time she's always sleeping. I heard, you thought I didn't hear. Or because I didn't really have anything to do. Most people were on their phones, and I was just the only one there. I didn't have a phone, and every single person in that tutorial knew I didn't have a phone. Every one of them actually knew I didn't have a phone at that point. Yeah. So fast forward 2019, I done my work at that point. Then my dad got me an Android phone. Yeah, I think I done my JAM too, which is also one of the exams needed to gain admission in university in Nigeria. Yes. So I done that too, and my dad got me a new phone, an Android phone, and I was so excited. Yeah, very, very excited. Yes. So one of the things I did, because of my interest in novels, romance novels specifically, I was introduced to a novel app. I'm not going to say the name. I was introduced to a novel app, which I joined and gained access to wide number of books. Like I read a lot of books. Sincerely, I read a lot of books, and yeah, that was part of my journey. Yeah, so I'm going to go back to my childhood briefly, and because I had some, what I call sexual encounters, yeah, while I was younger. I had, I, yeah, I had some sexual encounters while I was younger. There was a time I had one with my, cousin, yes, and I had one also with my neighbor, a girl. That one we even got caught, and what we got caught. I was very, very young at that point, and our mom caught us doing things we shouldn't be doing at that point in time, and yeah, but she promised not to report my mom, and she didn't. Yeah, she didn't report us, and yeah, that was one. And yeah, the one with my cousin, that one my mom almost caught us, but I lied that nothing happened and all. So let me move back to 2018. I got introduced to the novel app. I started consuming a lot of content, a lot of novels, and yeah, very, very lot of novels, and permits me to look into my, yeah. So I slowly got addicted to those books. I would wake up in the morning. I had my day planned. Do whatever. If I wanted to cook, I'll cook. Do everything, and do all I was supposed to do, and retire to my chair where I would just sit down, sleep. Lie down, a three-seater, with my phone. Fix my gaze. Focus, attention, sharp on that book, that phone like this, and I was there, reading the novels, and yeah, so I slowly got addicted, and one way or the other, I shifted from romance novels to erotic novels. Yeah, I started looking for more things because romance couldn't suffice anymore, so I needed something better than romance. Romance was just a little jelly those things at that point. So I started to read erotic novels, yeah, erotic novels. I started to read them, and I would, because I have a very imaginative mind. So once I see something, I have the capacity to like expand it in my mind. I can literally picture it. So it's like if I read a book now, I can see what I read. If you understand, probably you actually are in that kind of person. So they will play in my mind, and like that. So I moved to those kind of novels, and before I knew it, you know, they couldn't suffice anymore, and yeah, they couldn't suffice anymore. So from there, since they couldn't suffice anymore, I had to, yeah, like I said, move to those erotic novels and all, and before I knew it, started masturbating, and yes, masturbating. Mm. That was a very, very bad experience, and from there, the books, even those one couldn't, wasn't enough. Again, moved to porn. Yeah, I did move to porn, and I would go on YouTube, search for videos of things, just something that I could just a quick fix. I would search for them, something that I could just use, and watch. I would consume a lot of porn at that point, and I would even go ahead to search for pictures online. It was very, very bad. I would go ahead to search for pictures online of different kind of guys and those things like that, and just to get me to that point that I enjoyed at that point in my life. Yeah, and yeah, but it wasn't enough anymore at all. It wasn't enough at all. So I would masturbate every night, every day, most days. That was what I was doing in the night, and I would sleep. After I felt, very empty. I would feel empty because, I knew what I was doing was wrong, and I was addicted again. There was no way I could stop it on my own. Yeah. So I'm going to check this again. There was no way I could stop it. So after that, since even those videos couldn't, I started listening to audio books of erotic novels and all those things, and because they couldn't also suffice anymore, I started to crave for sex. Yeah, I started to crave for it, but thank God I didn't go that far. God delivered me. So I'm going to fast forward to 2020. COVID-19 came. Before 2020, in the year 2019, because I had gained admission in the year 2018 into the University of Lagos. So in the year 2019, after our 100 level, the first session, yes, I wanted to work because my phone got spoiled. That phone that I was so excited about got spoiled on the day I was going to pay for my school fees to get after getting admission into the University of Lagos. Yes, the phone got spoiled, and so I had to, for a whole session, my phone was shaky, so I needed to get a new phone. Yeah, I had to work. Yes, I had to work to get a new phone. So I decided to work for 2 months because we had about 2 months holiday. So I decided to work for those time. Yeah. And so I think the holiday was November, December, January. So I worked for November, December. I worked in, thank God being so good, I got an opportunity to work in a boutique through my dad and as a sales rep. So I didn't have to really search for a job. I just told my dad, and it wasn't far from where I was staying. So I started working there. Yes, so the place was very comfortable, and most of the time, because if there was like anytime there was no like a customer there, I would be the only one in the store watching movie, because either watching movie or something. But for some reasons, those movies that I love to watch didn't really interest me anymore. So I would watch Pastor Adeboye. I would listen to Pastor Adeboye on TV, and I didn't do that at all. I didn't do that, but for some reasons, I would listen to him on TV, And it even got to a point that I took pen. Me at that point, I didn't write messages down. I took a pen, tore a jotter out, and wrote out what I learned. And the topic I cannot forget was before the call, and how before the call God answers and all those things. And at times I would just be alone in the store. I would just kneel down worshiping God, even with all the things I was going through, the addictions and all those things. I would kneel down, worship God, and yeah, things like that. It went on like that till I had to get a jotter, and I became very serious. I was always listening, writing those things down. Beg your pardon, writing those things down, and yeah. So it went on like that. I eventually got my first salary, my first pay, and bought the phone. I was so excited. That was the first phone I got with my own money and money, and yeah. I took care of that phone like a baby. Trust me. Yes, so 2019, when 2020 came, a new session, I was ready. I had planned how things were going to go. Yeah, so we resumed school. After some time, I resumed school. After some time, we had strike in 200 level. We had to go on strike. So I was on strike when COVID-19, my school was on strike when COVID-19 occurred. So when COVID-19 came, it was just like an extension of the strike for me. So I had to, everybody had to stay at home during those times. There was no work, obviously. I'm sure you know what happened that time. So yeah. So because I was at home at that point in time, it revealed a lot of things. I was locked inside with my brothers. We couldn't really go out at that point, and yeah, I want to refer back to my jotter. Yes. So because of the updates of the COVID-19 updates about how many people are contacted or is it contracted COVID-19 or got COVID-19 and those things. Yes, so I was very, very up to date. I wanted to know what was going on the internet, so I would check every day. I kept checking, and because of that, it started to build fear in me. So I started becoming afraid. At the point I thought I had gotten COVID, and yeah, I thought I had gotten COVID. I even started having symptoms. I started having chest pain. I lost my sense of smell for a long time. I couldn't smell anything. I just had to eat. Whether I couldn't smell anything, I ate like that, and it went on for a while. So before before the COVID-19 started, before the churches went, had to close down, and a new pastor was brought to my church. Yeah, I think First Square Gospel Church. Now. So, and a new pastor was brought into my church. Yeah, and I could remember that one of the things he talked about, some things that day, and the things I got, the word I got that day was what helped me throughout those times. It was a major part of what helped me throughout those times, and he emphasized on the fact that we should think more, we should give God thanksgiving more, and we should pray more. There was one more thing that I can't recall now. So I really held on to that word because I didn't really know God, although I was, I went to church, I had gone to church, I had sang in church, done a lot of things there, but I didn't know God, to be frank, that was just it. I was just being religious. So, yeah, I held on to those words, they were they were really what helped me in that time, and yeah. So I would, because I started having those symptoms and I thought I had, gotten COVID, I would tell my brothers not to come near me. They don't really know why, because I felt that I didn't want to like give them that COVID one. So I would stay alone, scared, and I would every night I would sleep thinking that I would not be able to wake up the next day. But one way or the other, God had a different plan for my life, and I would wake up the next day. I had to go through that for a long time, and with the fact that I was still battling with addictions and all. Yeah, I was still battling with addictions and all, but God helped me through those times, and yeah. So 2020, yeah, 2020. So I think 2020 towards the end of 2020 was when we had these protests, each protest in Nigeria and all those things. I would also check Twitter at that point, Twitter, which is nice now. I would check it to see what was going on there, looking at the killings and all those things, and those things that they put on the internet, and I would be very scared. I had to, at a point, I had to like unfollow a lot of people because I think it was really affecting me health-wise. Yeah. So when it was 2021 came, a new year came, and I had a new year resolution about stopping porn and all those things. I tried it, but I got back into it in a few days. It did not work at all, at all. I got back into it in a few days. Yeah. So I'll continue in the next video.